Hello everyone! Today I'm going to share with you some fun and engaging number sense activities that are perfect for preschoolers. What is number sense? Number sense refers to the understanding of how numbers work and not just simple counting. It includes the ability to understand quantities and concepts like more and less. It is the ability to compose and decompose numbers. When we teach number sense, we teach counting, number order, one-to-one correspondence, number words, comparing numbers, and sabotizing. What is sabotizing? It is the ability to recognize how many in a small group without counting. Let me share with you some inexpensive, fun activities that you can do with your preschooler. One of the things that we need to be doing with our preschoolers every day is counting. I pulled this out of my grandson's learning binder, but I keep it in there. So every day we count. As we're counting, I like to have him point to the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. So every day we count. We count up to 20. But if your child is older and if you are, counting to 30 or 40 or 100, well then that works for you. Another thing that we can do is skip count. So let's say we're going to count by twos. So I have him point to the number as we count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. Or we're counting, skip counting by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20. Another thing that you can also do is count backwards. Like let's say you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This prepares your child for later on when he's going to be doing subtraction. So this is an excellent way to practice not just counting, but skip counting and counting backwards. This is a free printable, and I'll go ahead and link it below. Another thing that we practice with for number order is working this number puzzles. This is a free printable from totschooling.net. I just cut the pieces and put some magnets in the back. So as my grandson is putting the puzzle together, we're working with number order. This is from totschooling.net. This activity for number order, we're going to work on finding the missing number. I'm using some magnetic numbers, but you can use whatever you have at home. So I'll set up some numbers and then my grandson's going to see what's missing. 1, 2, what's missing here? 3, 4, 5. Then I would set up some other numbers and then he would continue to find the missing numbers. You can use magnetic numbers. You can use numbers. These are numbers from a puzzle. These are numbers from this waffle puzzle. This is from the dollar store. So, I can use that as well, or whatever you have at home. Another thing that I use with my grandson to practice, this is for one-to-one correspondence. I like to use some flashcards. These are from the dollar store. I really like these. They have the numeral 1, they have the word for 1, and then they have a picture. So this is 1 tree, 2 guitars, and so on. I also like to use these links I punched a hole at the bottom of the card. So what he's going to do is put one link. This is 1, 2. So then we would put 2 of the little links, and so on. You've seen me use this before. I used this when I did my video on fine motor skills boxes. I used flashcards from the dollar store, and then I had all the little links in here. But if you don't have some of these little links, you can use buttons, like 3. You can do it on the card, or you can do it down here. 1, 2, 3, or counting bears, or whatever you have at home. This is an excellent way to practice one-to-one correspondence. Another activity I like to do with my grandson is work with these puzzles. They're matching number puzzles. So he has to match the number of objects to the number. I like to take out a few puzzles, and I don't necessarily go in number order. He works the puzzles. This is a great activity because he's not just matching the number of objects to the number, but he's also working on logic and concentration. Once he works the puzzles, I like to give him a manipulative, like let's say some of the counting bears, and then he'll put 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this represents 4. And then he can use another manipulative, like let's say we have some buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to use some snap cubes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So he's not just working on the puzzle and matching the objects to the number. He's also working on number quantity, and he's also seeing that this 4 bears, that represents 4. The buttons, 4 buttons, that represents 4, and the snap cubes also represent 4. Easy activity that you can do with your preschooler. One thing I like to do with my grandson is have him form his numbers with Play-Doh. Like we're working on number 5, so we formed the number 5 with Play-Doh. Then we're going to put 5 of something, either 5 buttons or whatever. I actually found these little chips. There were 2 little boxes that I got at the thrift store, and at first I thought they were blank, but they actually have a number on each one. I guess they're for playing with cards. I don't really know, but I like all of them. So we're working, just one-to-one correspondence. So we're going to work with the 1s to form the 5. And we just use Play-Doh. If you don't have something like this, your child can use buttons or beads or whatever. But it's just a fun way to practice building the number with Play-Doh, and then just counting the items. 5. Another thing that I like to do is play a game with my grandson. You've seen me use the puppy, feed the puppy. I have some magnetic letters in this container. We would just pour the puppy food, which is the magnetic letters. Then he uses the puppy to pick up one of the numbers. This is the number 6. So we'll set the puppy down. I'm using these little Play-Doh molds that have numbers. So we're going to form the number 6. So then we will put that aside. I can turn this over, and then he can use the puppy and then pick another number, the number 3. And then he would form the number 3 using the little Play-Doh molds. So just a fun way to make learning fun, using a little puppy, using some Play-Doh and magnetic numbers. Another activity I like to do with my grandson, I use this tray from the dollar store. Using numbers from the puzzle, I just put a number here, then he picks up the die, he looks for the number 5, he gets some little bears, counting bears, he puts them here, some snap cubes, and we'll count 5. Then when he's done, we'll move on to another number. Let's say the number 4, and then we'll work with that number 4. He'll look here, he'll put 4 bears, 4 of the snap cubes, and so on. Super fun activity, you all. So sabotizing, what is it? It is the ability to instantly recognize how many in a small set without counting. For example, if you throw a dice and you look, it's 5, and we don't have to count. We don't have to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know that's 5. And we know instantly that that is 4. So one of the things that we can do with our preschoolers is teach them, you know, that's 6, and maybe practice. I have some Play-Doh, and I use this Play-Doh little cutter. I made a square, and I'm using this straw. So we're just going to form this. This is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just using some Play-Doh, we're going to familiarize ourselves with this. So then we would work on 4, and so then we would press and do the same thing as before. 1, 2, 3, 4. Super fun activity, you all. For this activity, I'm using this printable that I created. I'm going to be using some cups. Somebody gave me a whole bunch of these little cups. There's 250 cups in here. So I am using these for several activities. I went ahead and put a sticker and wrote a number. So we are just going to be matching our numbers for this activity. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I have a little dot. I put dots on this activity like it's the dice. So we're going to match this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can do all 10 or however many you want to do. You can use whatever kind of cups you have. You can find these, either there's a Dollar Tree close to you. They have a whole bunch for $1. So that is one thing that we're going to be working on. For this activity, I'm using some Uno cards that we already had. I'm also using the printable that I created. It's got the number up here and then the word for the number. And I'm also using the dice and some little dominoes. These are kind of small. These are from the dollar store, but this works. So we have 1. And so then what my grandson's going to do is find the card that goes here, the 1. I already did this for the video. Then the dice, and then the little domino. And then same thing with the 2, the 3, the 4. And here's the little domino. This is the 4, so then he would put that there. This is a free printable. I'll go ahead and link it below. This activity is called Look, Flip, and Cover. I created this printable. It's got some tally marks. It's got the counting fingers, dominoes. So what we're going to do is look at our number, 5. We're going to use a manipulative and find the number 5. So here's the tally mark for 5. So we're going to cover that. Then I'm going to go ahead and flip this. So now I have the number 3. So now I'm going to look for the number 3. So here's 3 fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that. And we would continue doing this. Okay, we're going to flip. We have the number 1. So I'm going to look through here. Here's the number 1. So I'm going to cover that. And we would continue doing this. I have numbers 1 through 5. Ready? For this activity, I'm using the printable that I created with the dice. I'm also using this printable. I also created this. I'm calling it Let's Make It. So we're going to look at the dice and we're going to make the 3. 1, 2, 3. Then this one, that is 4. So we're going to make this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good job. For this activity, I'm using this printable that I created, and you can either use the cards with the number and the word for the number, or you can use the dice. So we're just going to look and match. 1, 2, 3. This is a free printable. I'll go ahead and link it below. If your child is not ready for a 10 frame, I created this printable and I have a 5 frame. So you would just cut this out and use that. Let's say we're going to use the number 5. So using a manipulative, I'm using the little mini erasers. You can have your child work on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I hope you enjoyed the activities I had for you today. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give my video a like, and I'll see you next time.